Hey guys, it's been a minute. So Rusty, I bet you're wondering where Rusty is. Um, Rusty has been in an FBI cyber terrorist interrogation cell for the last 28 days. And maybe you're thinking, well, damn, that's a long time. But uh, 27 of those days were spent on explaining the Thorp lore to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Their fascination with the things that Rusty told them was so intense that they held him for such an extensive amount of time just to hear the entirety of how fucked up their story was. So technically, Rusty got out within the first 24 hours on good behavior, of course. But damn, did the FBI have some questions regarding Ben Thorp. So,
I'm back.
back.
I'm back.
Woo!
I was in an FBI interrogation cell for the last couple months. Cyber terrorists specifically. If you're new here, just know that Ben Thorp has been talking about wanting to send the FBI cyber terrorist investigation squad after me for having live streams about him, I guess. And I don't know. It's been a it's been a crazy time. It's been a crazy time. Yes, it might be a bit of a prank, might be a little bit of a gag. But anyway, we're back. Yo, Snail. Hey everyone. So it's been a couple months. The last time we did this was like March, I think. And I don't know. A lot's happened in the Thorp world. The last time we did this, it was like Ben had just gotten arrested for kicking Grace. That feels like, so long ago.
Really
But
does.
I don't know. There's something in me that didn't want to. Shamu did some good videos on it using the arrest footage from both times Ben was arrested for breaking the NCO against Grace. I think most people know about that. If you don't, you can check out Shamu's videos on it. But Ben was arrested for kicking Grace in March, and then was arrested once for breaking the NCO. They weren't supposed to be together. And then he was arrested again for doing that another time. The NCO has been dropped, although Ben has, on September 5th, he has to go to court to deal with the charge for breaking the NCO when it was still there in Massachusetts. I don't know. Oh, that's a whole different video. People have done stuff about it, but kind of what we wanted to talk about was some of the most recent stuff that we think is interesting. Specifically, Ben and Grace met up with a streamer named Ruby, and Ruby Spacek, and we'll be talking about her. But to set this up, Ruby spent about I don't know, it was 5 days on the road with Grace and Ben. Most of you guys all know this. And I think at one point they were in a hotel, and I guess Ben, Grace, and Ruby, two girls, one was 20 and one was 16, came up to them and were like, "Hey, your RV's cool." And I guess they talked to the girls. Mostly it sounds like they only talked to the 20-year-old. And they were like, "You should do I think Ben did the classic thing. You should be a streamer,
Yeah.
What do you think he said? I guess.
I think I don't know. We know his shtick and we know how he talks to people.
Yeah.
When he's talked on when people have been brought up on their channel or whatever,
Right.
girls he's attracted to or whatever. And he does go on that whole spiel. He's like, you could make tons of money. And I think they kept mentioning the girl's piercings and stuff and how she was alt. So
yeah,
they just tried to sell their lifestyle kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess we'll get into it, but I think one thing about Ruby is what she's DM'd me and she could, I'm not going to show the DMs or anything, but what she basically said was like, I just want to help Grace, and I don't want to like worry about all the drama. Like, don't you think it's a good thing that I'm just trying to help Grace? And I basically, I feel like other people have tried this, which is you can help Grace get away from Ben if you kind of get in tight with Ben and Grace. Like
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like Grace isn't going to leave, but if you become friends with Ben and Grace, then you become tight, and maybe Grace will see that you're their friend.
Right.
Um, and I think, uh, I don't think that that works. I don't think that it does anything personally to agree with everything that Ben says and just kind of like be Ben's buddy, hoping that maybe somehow Grace will leave. Because I don't think you really get to become Grace's real friend. And we'll see that that's definitely not true, or that's definitely like you can't become her real friend, because after Ruby hangs out with them, Ben guilt trips Grace and makes her lose her mind a little bit over it, right?
Yeah, there's definitely no right way to ever be, and she's not really allowed to have friends, and I think that's, like, what we wanted to talk about is, like, even when it just seems like she's, like, allotted this freedom to have, like, this one friend, it is
Hmm.
just, like, a setup for in, like, many ways,
Yeah,
and it's just, like, a game that Ben ultimately wants to play, and he wants to, like, involve other people too, and
yeah,
maybe even get, like, Grace's hopes up in certain ways and then, like, disappoint her because he's
yeah,
a sadist, so
yeah, yeah. So, I guess let's just start this. The first thing we want to show, the first clip that we want to show is right. This is when the NCO was still happening. It was right before it was lifted. So Ben and Grace couldn't technically be together, even though allegedly they were probably together the whole time. We can assume. Um, Ben makes some very, very. Uh, I agree. Greatest ally Israel. It is not worth enabling Ben's delusions. I completely agree. Um, so I think this is Ben threatening Courtney, his ex-wife. I just wanted to start with this clip because it's kind of brutal. Um, you know. So all right.
And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Grace. You don't have to tap into it right now. I'm just saying it feels hella good when you can finally say to these people, and someone could
I
clip
don't
that and go, I just threatened Grace's mother. And you're goddamn right. If I was in front of this pig and she was to tell me that she was behind this, I wouldn't know that I could guarantee her safety in any way, shape, or form. I don't care that she's a woman. Fuck her.
no,
Pig.
I felt that. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
And you should say the same thing. Fuck you. I'll wreck you. I'll do everything in my power to wreck you and end you. You and your siblings have spent your entire lives in fear of this maniac who doesn't know how to relate to other people. And she's trained you from before you were born to fear her wrath when she doesn't like what you do. Well, fuck that. It's over for all of you. Fuck her lies, and fuck her fear. And if she kills herself, good riddance. Just because you're too stupid and you don't understand relationships is not going to save you.
What do you think about this? It's just
I
like
think
classic Ben trying to get Grace into like an angry
yeah,
tizzy.
yes, it's like one of those, trying to, wind Grace up in anger to justify her anger, to get as mad as Ben. We've talked about those kinds of things in, like, the previous streams, just his tactics at trying to get her to, like, match his enthusiasm, and then, like, he's trying to project it onto her so that she just does all of that for him, and
Yeah, like he
it's
wants her to go to the FBI to like get the
yeah,
FBI to destroy Courtney. You know what I mean? Like I don't
yeah.
know, like even Grace is usually like, "Oh, I don't even know." You know what I mean? Like what the
No,
FBI would do.
we repeatedly see her kind of, like, um, n show this incapability of, like, meeting that enthusiasm or that, drive to attack Courtney or call the FBI. Because in a lot of ways, like, she'll even say it, she just, like, knows it's, like, this waste of time. Nobody's gonna like care about those things like Ben does, because Ben really believes like this is true and yada yada yada, and these people deserve, and like there's reason for them to like have legal action against them for yada yada yada. And I think Grace is in many ways just like more rational, you know, and it is a huge waste of time. And they also don't have any money anymore either. So
Yeah.
I think she just sees like it's pointless, you know.
Yeah, here, look, Hans Guru says Grace is self-aware of that. She had a breakdown when rewatching an old video of her acting on Ben's behalf and posted some dreams a while ago that were basically about throwing Courtney under a bus. Yeah, I think that's always how it is. I don't think Grace really wants Courtney to go to jail or go to the FBI. You know what I mean? But
No.
Ben, we see him do this all the time. But this was just like a shocking thing where he's basically seems like he's allegedly threatening to kill Courtney.
And whatever happens in this world is going to be but a foretaste of what's to come unless you change your ways immediately. Don't taunt the Lord of the universe by torturing children. He doesn't always hold back, and he doesn't give a fuck about your excuses for doing it.
That was
Doesn't it
fucking
make
crazy.
you, you know, this is what you won't say. It made me feel, because we weren't sure what was going on there, but now I know what was going on there. We know who was behind this. And she wanted them to experience that. Now, that makes me feel homicidal rage, and I own it. That makes me want to kill the person who was doing that to her own innocent children. It fills me with a desire to kill that person.
I mean, there it is, right there. He's talking about Courtney.
Well, and
play this
I mean, since he's addressing her in a public context,
right?
This is a violation of the no contact order that she already has with him. And so, yeah, it just goes to show like this is what is necessary.
Right.
Having a no contact order against Ben.
I mean, this was just a month ago. Like, I hope a lawyer or a judge or somebody sees it. He says he doesn't care if the court sees it.
Any normal person would feel that in response to a mother terror because she didn't know how to relate to them. That fills you with homicidal rage, and that rage may boil over.
By the way, Grace is just like dead-eyed
to her own innocent children.
Sorry.
It fills me with a desire to kill that person.
Anyway, it's just insane. I feel like we should start with it because, you know, I know a lot of people have seen this clip maybe in the specific small communities that we all exist in, like in Grace's server or whatever, but I just think more people should see it. So I guess where we're going to start is a couple weeks ago when Grace and Ruby were together. They were at a motel and they started streaming, and Grace posted this video of the cops coming. So you guys may have seen it.
They're folded up.
Explain it to you.
We should have called the police first. We should.
You
don't think he's an officer? No, I'm just saying to warn them that this is.
He can come in here. I don't want to call. I just want your guys' IDs so we can have a quick conversation and be done with this.
There you go. That's fine.
Thank you. You guys are live streamers. They told us about that before. They looked you up, all that. I'm not here to dive down that rabbit hole, okay? I'm here because you can't be messing with the other residents here, okay? Yes, I am 100% sure that it was residents here, okay?
Lewd or sexual?
You're here knocking on the door because of lewd and suggestive comments?
Yes,
which residents?
It doesn't matter to which ones. It was made to juveniles, okay?
Wait, what?
Yes, that I don't think it was necessarily intended to be to a juvenile because of the group they were with. And it was nothing so ungodly.
Well, what's the comment?
Making comments about
is there some kind of evidence of this, like a video or something?
Yeah,
I'm so confused. We've been together all day. We've been friends.
We've been
This has like none of us did this. Is there some kind of evidence?
Yeah,
of
none of
this
us do this.
that I
We've
can
been
see.
streaming all day too.
Okay,
Evidence you can say we were told
somebody from this
of
room
a report.
out here.
So the cops are saying they were told that there was a report that this group was saying something lewd or lascivious to a person that was underage, but not on purpose, I guess is what he's trying to say.
The Thrope live stream.
We were told.
Thrope live stream that someone came out
He calls her they calls them the Thropes, by the way.
and was telling them about the live stream and making suggestive comments about how they can make a lot of money online. That comment came out the wrong way. Okay?
So Ben and Grace, and who knows who really said it, but that they could make a lot of money online. Which we know that Ben does say this to people. He said it to Ava. He said it to everyone. Like, you'd make a lot of money as a streamer. But I think probably what happened is some girls said, hey, we like your van. And they probably overdid it with just like talking to them about how much money they could make. They probably just wanted to vaguely talk about like YouTube and vans. And then I bet those girls told their mom, oh, look, the Thorpes, we should look them up. And then they found like crazy shit. And then the mom called the cops, right? Is that what I don't know. That's what I think probably happened.
I think there was like, yes, like I think that happened, but I think that everything that Ben had said, like after they realized who he was, like genuinely freaked them out because of the nature of like the sexual nature of his language and like the way that he talks to people, especially like women, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty sex obsessed, and so
he says stuff, yeah, that like what the last time we talked to Ben, like on a stream, he tried to talk to us about like skinny dipping and how you should be skinny dipping and we should be naked and stuff.
And then he repeats himself. He brought that up like recently too. I don't remember. I guess it was probably with like Ava or something. But yeah, the skinny dipping thing. Yeah.
How is that
Look, come with me.
Why
How
are
is that
you here?
allowed?
To make a lot of money.
What?
how's that lewd?
They took it.
Wait.
They took it in the manner that, like, conducting
gross.
sexual acts online could make a lot of money. That was not what was exactly said. I'm not saying you said that. That was how it was interpreted. Okay. So we're just asking you not to harass or engage with the other residents
They
here.
wait the ones that approached us.
Regardless, they're
That
gonna
walks
keep.
up
They're
to us.
gonna
and struck
keep.
up
Those girls who were talking about the RV?
So
That's the only.
So we're just asking that we don't engage with the other residents at the motel, as far as that goes. Okay?
Maybe.
So someone
There's-
misinterpreted something. And the police are here, and we can't.
Regardless of, it's not about
That was also, like,
misinterpreting,
8 hours
it's how
ago.
they interpreted the situation. And they contacted us.
No, it was misinterpreted. Well, whatever.
It was misinterpreted
No, it
from your
wasn't.
end,
No, it
interpreted
wasn't
on
at
their
all.
end.
You know.
Okay? So
No,
your
it
actions or your comments
We
or
did not.
whoever's.
We didn't speak to a minor. We spoke to a 20-year-old girl.
Yeah.
There was.
There was a 16-year-old in the group. So
We were not
again, I don't
speaking
think
to
you
her.
We
were.
didn't speak to that
I don't think you were
person at all.
trying to do anything.
No.
Here,
I mean, I think most people, if like, I think most people probably wouldn't talk about this stuff with like younger girls and women. But like, if a cop came up and said this to you, you'd probably just be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It won't happen again." I guess it's really dependent on the situation, but I think this kind of like claim of innocence is a little silly. You know, I guess we'll never really fully know what was said, but clearly it freaked out the parents.
didn't say a
I'm
word
not
to
charging
her.
you with anything. I'm just here asking you not to engage with other residents.
Okay.
I think that's fair enough.
Why didn't they just?
I mean,
I
they
don't
came
know.
with us.
It
Just
doesn't
FYI,
matter. We got called and
She
that's just
came
where
up
we're
to
at.
we came. We were unloading the RV over there.
A 20-year-old
And
girl.
then the girl walks up to us. Hey guys,
Yes,
I would love
yes,
to get an
yes.
RV like myself.
You want us to come down? You're banging on our door.
I would just.
We were all just
I said I
asleep.
didn't want to yell. That's why I said I don't want to yell at you guys. I have no desire to do
I
that.
wanted to. I'm trying to yell. It's not coming out.
What? I'm trying to yell. It's not coming out because her voice was lost.
My voice
For
is
not
not
yelling.
yelling.
I appreciate that.
Alright.
Give me 1 second.
All right, so the cops talk to Ben and Grace, you know, whatever, and then they basically say, "Don't talk to those people anymore. You freaked them out. You freaked out a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old." And then they have a cope session on stream. Okay.
p.m. earlier this evening, me and Ruby and my dad were swimming at the pool with some people we met at the motel we're at, and we streamed it. Ruby ended her stream. We brought our stuff from the pool to the RV and reparked the RV near our room. And Ruby and my dad were in the RV, and they parked it. I came over to help them bring stuff over to our room. And as I was getting stuff out of the RV, I noticed this sort of goth-looking girl with a black swim cover-up over a red bikini.
She's covered in shit. Everything, pierced septum, lips, this, transdermal implants.
I don't know why that matters. Sorry. I don't know why
No.
it matters that the 20-year-old had piercings. Like,
Yeah, they
she's
keep repeating it
piercings.
too.
She's a slut. Is that the implication? Like, she's a
She
harlot.
deserves it.
Yeah, yeah. What?
Yeah.
And everything.
Piercings down here.
And she makes a beeline to us.
Yeah, and she was sort of wandering over with this
With
ish looking blonde girl.
it's like blonde
I thought she was like
hair.
maybe 14 or so.
Yeah,
Do you hear
it was
that?
more than I was.
She
They
said
thought she was younger.
14. That's what initially Grace by herself was honestly saying. She said, I honestly thought that the girl was 14.
The 16-year-old. Right.
Yes. And then after that, every time Ben is with her, they say that she's 16, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so she comes over with I thought was probably her sister, even though they don't really look alike, but I was like, okay, it's probably sister. And we're like, oh, come look in the RV, like, yeah. Then we were getting into like, because she sort of had this like really strong aesthetic kind of like alternative vibe going on. And we were like, it could be interesting because we're live streamers. If you were to stream or film yourself on TikTok or YouTube, like building your truck out bit by bit, starting from zero and doing it yourself because you're a young like girl, people would find that interesting. Because you don't see a lot of people doing that, especially since you have this like aesthetic. I even told this girl, I was like, alt girl decks out her own van. I was like, I would watch that if I saw that on TikTok. Or
Yeah, we
Instagram
both were,
because
because she just looked like the type who would be into that kind of thing, like, and would be like a typical like streamer, like e-girl type. She had an e-girl kind of look.
You should be an e-girl.
Yeah.
I don't know what was said back and forth. Like, we can't critique it. We don't know what really happened. But like, some of the stuff.
Yeah. I think no matter what, like all of it was said, like even if the girl like is 20 years old or whatever, all of this was still said in front of a minor. And
and with Ben was there. Like, they're not really mentioning it, but I understand it was all three of them,
Yeah,
We don't really know
sure.
who said what.
Well, I'm sure like Grace has her points. Like she was saying, like, oh, you could like build it out. This is what I do too. But then like Ben always has to push the envelope with
Right.
people.
We don't know, right? We don't know what was said, right?
Sister, which was this girl like about 3 inches shorter than her with blonde hair. Wasn't really saying anything. We didn't say anything to her except we invited her into the RV with her sister to look around. We were all talking outside of the RV. Sister wasn't saying anything. I just assumed she was shy. I was like, whatever. And the girl was like, yeah, you gotta make the best of. You gotta take advantage of like this sort of like, guys are into goth girls or whatever. And I guess I kind of have that aesthetic. And we were like, yeah. And like. Guys just like everybody likes to see girls doing something that generally guys do. It's kind of an interesting setup because you're so young.
Yeah.
I mean, so like this could be misconstrued like guys like goth girls and you look so young. Again, we're like piecing all this together, but I can see why people might get freaked out, especially after they Google them. And especially a parent might.
Of course, obviously, I work on my RV with my dad. Like I'm doing a similar thing to what you're doing.
Yeah.
We were just like talking about those two girls and what happened.
Ruby, the druggy girl.
No, I'll tell you what happened.
Druggy girl.
And then we said, okay, it was nice talking to you. And they were like, yeah, nice talking to you. Well, it was just the older girl. She was like, yeah, it was nice talking to you too. Thanks for letting me look in your RV. And then she went to her place with her sister and we went to ours. And then 4 hours later, we get a knock saying that we've made lewd and lascivious comments to minors.
I'll tell you what it is. It's We actually have where we're at is 3 different types of parenting styles. One is the permissive. One is the over-authoritarian. And I'm in the middle. Lean between the extremes.
I mean, this is where it kind of gets more interesting.
And now we're encountering a bitch whose daughter is rebelling. She's an adult, and he's trying to control her using the police. And they don't have no. I don't care. They can say you can't talk to these people. I can talk to that adult female if she wants to. They don't have no right to say her daddy don't want you talking to her.
Yeah.
And if you can't handle that,
She was 20. She's a grown adult.
then it's time to.
It's like, again, this is obvious, but like, if a parent is weirded out by you in your interaction with their kids, don't also just stream about it. Probably it's not a good idea to stream about it and then like talk about how I can talk to anybody girl that I want. It's just it's a kind of a weird
But
look.
but Ben is so bold. He like doesn't give a fuck.
Right, he doesn't
And
care.
he likes to instigate these things because it's like honestly really fun for him. He feels like very right about it all. Like
Right.
he feels justified and
Right.
Time to
self-righteous.
let baby out of the nest.
And I just simply like the idea that we were talking to him about it. We didn't say one word to her sister because she was
But
just
she
shy.
had it's perfectly fine.
It's perfectly fine, but I'm just saying, like,
Grace is like, no, we didn't talk to the 16-year-old, but Ben's like, no, but it's fine though if we did.
there was
Yeah.
like not one word uttered to that girl because she was so shy.
Yeah,
Her
that we
sister
didn't
was just
interact
talking for her.
with the the younger one.
She keeps trying to not say child.
It
Oh.
doesn't matter. You can talk to a 16-year-old.
Bad look.
But
Yeah.
she was so shy. We didn't say anything.
Yeah, we
to
didn't
her.
interact
She didn't
with that.
approach us.
So we have
She
only
worked with your sister.
the police were called because a 20-year-old female approached us and we talked about streaming. Is basically what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can see she's rebelling against him. There's some kind of
With the
homeschooling type of people,
She's got the piercings. She's rebelling.
and he's trying to intimidate her into. Why do you think she wants to GTFO?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's sick of this guy.
She walked right into that RV. She wanted to get out.
She walked
This
right
is
into
the-
that RV. She wanted to get out.
This is like a projection created all by Ben
Yeah,
and is
right.
like, oh, by the way, like she wanted to leave that fucked up family because they're repressing her sexuality.
Right, like
and-
like she's a wayward hoe. That's probably what he said, I'm assuming.
yes,
And she probably would do well to be in an RV with us because we would
Yeah.
let her be free to express herself. We don't know if that's what was said, but it sounds like something like that.
It's fucking bitch. It's fucking bitch parenting. Grow up here, dude.
It is some.
Get some social
parenting.
skills. Don't call the popo
Call the police.
to,
I love how
to try to control your daughter who's an adult. You ain't got no control over her.
Yeah.
If you don't like her doing YouTube, then ain't nothing you can do about it.
Maybe she's reaching.
Police
out.
don't have a right to say, well, 20-year-old's daddy said she don't want you talking with her anymore.
Calling
They
police
don't have
because
the
you have
right
no
to say
social
that.
skills is crazy. Then
Hard. I have a right to. And nothing illegal about that.
yeah.
Right. Ben, you do have, I guess, a right to talk to a 20-year-old. She's an adult, but at the same time, this is the thing. Maybe something happened where someone comes up to you, chats with you, and then you invite them in an RV, and maybe they felt uncomfortable. Maybe they didn't even feel uncomfortable until they talked to their mom and they Googled the Thorps. But at some point, people get freaked out, and parents get freaked out, and someone made a call. And I guess it's a reflection of the kind of brand that the Thorps have. You know what I mean? And they're just coping. Obviously, this is just like a cope session about it.
It's freedom of speech.
I didn't, and she didn't give any indication of anything, but sorry, Dad.
He thinks
your girl become a young woman. She got to make her own way in the world. She don't need you to do this shit with her and her sisters. Just like your mother.
always comes back to Courtney, doesn't it? right?
Oh yeah. For sure.
It's over. Whatever it is, it is.
The shoe glue.
Yeah.
I would think you would encourage your daughter to
This part's crazy.
shoot her shot. She's only going to be rebelling more and more against you if you just keep trying to intimidate her or whatever the hell happened. Who knows? This is what happens with these girls. This is why the age of consent thing is a problem.
Oh, always comes back to Courtney and age of consent for Ben.
You get a girl who's acting out, right?
Yeah.
Sexually. And she's with a 19-year-old guy or whatever, but she's of age, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Or maybe she's not, but she says she is to the guy. The guy is innocent. But say she's 17. In some states, she's 16, 17 years old. She's with a guy who's 22 or whatever. Common sense would say, like, that's a problem for her and her parents. It's not the problem that there's a male who has interest in her. I think.
I don't. What does that even mean, Amelia? I don't know.
Yeah. No. I don't think so.
Unless he's doing something illegal. And if her daddy don't like it and her mommy don't like it, well, she is old enough to engage in that behavior. But now everyone wants the laws to be 21 so we can beat up on young men who are acting like young men should act, which is sexually interested in young women.
Right. So it comes back to like young men should be sexually interested in 16-year-olds. And I guess even it sounds like that's what Ben's saying. I don't know for sure, but it's something like, look, you're trying to make the age of consent 21. I don't know if people are, but maybe that's something that's happening. But it's like this kind of idea that like there's always going to be this leering look that's just part of men and society or whatever, and we should accept it.
It's normal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you add up all the men who have these bullshit charges and have these bullshit police encounters. I think it's probably in the tens of millions.
Right, like tens of millions of men are being attacked for having sex with 16-year-olds or whatever, or like this is this horrible thing, like
Domestic violence charges.
Yeah.
Right, getting these awful domestic violence charges, even though Ben was filmed kicking his daughter.
Probably it's a lot.
And I'm not going to be
and Ben was filmed by the police and well, whatever, breaking the NCO.
one, but some of these young men are going to they're going to act out. They're going to get crazy on their side because the wonder young men are angry.
Mm. Right.
But anyways, the police here were liars. They were liars.
Mm-hmm.
Because first they said, well, there's a legal reason we're here. Then they said it's somebody felt uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how the law works. The law doesn't say, well, okay, we're going to arrest you because
somebody made a complaint. The cops said they wanted to talk to you guys about it. You know, is what it is.
According to them, like if I'm out there without my shirt on, which I was, and someone said, well, I find that sexually something. Well, you can't take someone in for that.
They didn't take you guys in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ben goes on like this.
Yeah. Good job. That's why they care.
I mean, I would say like, I don't know if there's any like parts that you think are super important here. I would say it gets even more really where we wanted to show this, that like there's this interaction with Ruby, you know, the next day I think is some of the most important stuff.
Because when a girl turns 18, she can tell her parents, F you. Or she can say, hey, I still want to be down with things. But like a lot of these girls should say, dude, it ain't working for me. I want out.
Yeah.
And if she wants to come, I got 2 bitches. I got room for another one. If she wants to come,
Wait, here you go. He just said like if that 20-year-old, I don't know who he's
Yeah.
referring to. One of them wants to come with us. She can.
Mo bitches, mo maybe.
So Ruby's agreeing
Yeah,
with
and
everything
Ruby's
Ben's saying.
yeah, and Ruby's like, yeah, she encourages a lot of what he says by being like, yeah, anybody would want to join in it. Like, I don't know, it's just fucking weird.
Yeah.
If she wants to
I
come,
mean, and Ben, like, he has said in the past, like, he has this fantasy of like a harem, um, or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a real fucking problem with the police doing that. I got a real fucking problem with that. Because that bitch, Essler over there, whatever his name
Really
is,
bad.
he can call the cops, but for them to come bang on our fucking door,
Yeah.
I have like a stomachache from stress because of this.
See, look, I think Grace, because she's not as delusional, understands the kind of PR reflection of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, this
Yeah.
makes us look weird and bad that somebody complained about us. We weren't like, the cops weren't just called because of some prank or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the dog. Oh, sorry. The dog came through
I
the window. But I don't know if she's acting 6 to 10 acting for it. I mean, she seems like she's genuinely upset.
I think
up-
like I talked about before, like how it's like an affectation that she puts on just because it's like she wants to please him by like agreeing with him that he's right and it's fucked up. And yeah, I think she does feel like out of control in this sense in terms of like the reputation that's on them. So
Mhm.
they're the only ones to blame is like the police, like, and they get really pissed on like just the fact
Right.
that the cops, like, it's their job to respond to calls.
Or like to help keep the peace, right? No one was arrested, but a cop is saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
we freaked out a family. Just so I'm letting you be aware of it. Can you kind of chill out?" Like that's whatever. But I think it's just interesting that Ben's more interested in like that he was upset that this girl he probably thought that was, he was interested in, like, oh, she didn't get freaked out, her parents did. He's more interested in arguing that over Grace being like understanding that this makes them look bad. It's more bad PR,
Yeah.
but you know what that is, Grace? It's you have seen yourself as like this is the way the world works.
What the fuck? They can't just do that. What
It's
right
not.
do they have?
Yeah.
They're not. There's
Well, they
no
would-
crime.
Yeah, but they made up something. that,
Okay, so
like-
they made it up. So they should
No,
get
but I'm
fired.
Grace, I'm saying because according to the other guy, you can do that,
He said if you
or
think
he'll
he's
tell
having
you to
too much
shift my
coffee,
nuts or whatever, right?
you can call.
But the other guy was like, well, they're amateurs, you know what I mean?
Anyway, so I want to skip, if you're cool with it, babe,
Yeah.
to the next
Willingness.
to the next day. So the next
Mhm.
day things get a little more interesting. Do you want to introduce it, Amelia? What happened? Like Ruby left and Ben and Grace start discussing the way Grace is apparently acting now that Ruby's gone, and the way that Grace
Right.
acted when Ruby was there, that she didn't sleep in the same bed as Ben, that she was acting different, and that Ben felt that Grace was embarrassed of him and the relationship.
Right. Exactly. She didn't act or behave normally or like herself around Ruby, which is really just been having a problem with. In my opinion, it comes down to the fact that when Ruby was around, Ben couldn't just yell at her because and that made him more annoyed that he couldn't just yell at Grace about how annoyed he was all the time, and just like not doing what he wanted her to do, which um yeah, they
Yeah.
just seem
They-
like I mean, honestly, like when it comes down to it, like Grace is I don't know, she understands that she's not normal. And so like when anybody else is around, and I wouldn't even say
Or
like
that their
I think-
life isn't normal. Like the relationship
Yeah.
with her and Ben aren't normal. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think honestly Ruby seems like she was a pretty non-judgmental person the whole time. But it doesn't really matter because it could be anyone. I think that's like what it proves is that I don't know. It's hard to accept like it's hard for Grace to accept the like reality or the nature of their relationship, you know?
Right. Wait, this says, why do you think Ben didn't act weird around Ruby? I think that he didn't do the full Ava treatment, right? Like Ben didn't do the hair pulling and you know, like the way that Ben freaked Ava out. I think he somehow knew he had to be a little chilled out. So he was on his better behavior. Plus, I think Ruby basically agreed with everything that Ben said and liked everything he said and defended him. So I think Ben probably also liked that. Well, hey, like she thinks I'm great. But what's interesting is no matter how, like you said, Amelia, much Ruby liked Ben or acted like she liked him, the next day when she leaves, it doesn't help Grace. He's still gonna rage at her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And another thought that just came into my mind is like, I don't think Ben fully likes like when people like him. I think he he likes to like be intrusive and gross and like offensive, I think, for people. So like Ava, something like Ava's disgust of him kind of is like this it incites him to like, you know, I don't know, pursue her or
Yeah.
be creepy in that way. I don't know.
Someone's saying you're giving Grace way too much credit. You guys are falling for Grace's act. She does that for her dad to yell at her. I think I don't know about that. I don't necessarily agree. I think that she's genuinely constantly trying to make Ben happy.
That is like a manipulation, I think, that's been created by Ben to make it seem like, oh, Grace is just acting like she's embarrassed, but she has every reason to be embarrassed.
I'm not
right. Yeah,
you know,
totally. I guess let's get into it. Also, it's choppy here because their Wi-Fi was really bad.
doing this thing though with you, where you're getting hysterical about Wi-Fi. I don't understand it.
Okay. We'll put the Wi-Fi in here on pause, connect to the McDonald's Wi-Fi.
We can sit in here and eat, and we can eat in there.
I think eating in there.
I want to be like in a neutral environment. I'm not sure we're going to get back in the RV together, honestly. It's fucking crazy, dude. What did I do?
I'm acting crazy because of Ruby. Not because of
Because
Ruby.
you're angry. Don't
I'm
say it's
angry.
Ruby.
No, I'm saying because of Ruby.
Shut up. Liar. Hate liars.
I'll
Is there
figure out
any
the
money on
McDonald's.
Cash App now?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Where's the? Here.
So Ben's already like winding it up that this is the beginning of the stream and Grace is acting weird and antisocial. And so everything Grace does, he's going to react like is the most fucked up, weird behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have money.
Oh, okay.
I'm going in and ordering food for me. I don't care what you do.
Right. This is this game. I don't care what you do, Grace.
It's also the signal. You better go and talk to chat about what's going on. I'm leaving you in here to suffer in the heat of the RV instead of coming in to get food like she probably wants to. You know what I mean? Like, this is just like, okay, get this part over with. You need to talk about how this is like your fault and really that it's like Courtney's fault.
Right.
Just get down to it, Grace. You know, like let's
totally
figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you have your keys?
Yes, I have my keys. I wasn't saying it was because of Ruby. That came out wrong. It's just because being with somebody else when I have a dysfunctional.
Jeez.
Being with somebody else when I have a dysfunctional relationship in some ways is difficult for me. That's all. It's not that I'm saying that it's Ruby. I made that perfectly clear. I'm just saying that having somebody else around when there's a dysfunctional relationship is difficult for me. It's dysfunctional in some ways.
Well, she's saying, I assume that's something Ben said, but that it's difficult for her to be around somebody else like Ruby because they have a dysfunctional relationship?
Yeah, and it's like it's so cryptic because she's gonna define what the dysfunction is, and it's like the fact that she's embarrassed and she tries to act like normal around other people and stuff, and that she can't listen to Ben when other people are around because she's actually afraid of women and stuff. And so like that's the dysfunction, and it has nothing to do with like the unhealthy nature of like and the actual dysfunction of
Right.
being close
Right.
and sleeping in the same bed in the RV and stuff like that with your dad.
Right.
So
Here, we'll get into it here. Yeah.
yeah.
So don't try to spin it like I said Ruby was the problem. Save your lies for the devil, Grace. What's dysfunctional about this? I love Ruby. But kind of, I was talking about it earlier. I just think that, like, I mean, full disclosure, I like to blame my issues on other people. So if it does come across that I'm blaming things on Ruby, I think she'll understand that I'm probably just projecting. But I do not mean to do that. I'm just using that experience as a way to say, like, okay, there are some problems that me and my dad have, that I have working with my dad. And when other people are around, I tend to kind of, I mean, essentially say that I'm embarrassed to have the relationship I have with him, which is like obviously pretty intense.
And it's like she has to go all in and be like, everything you're saying is right, Dad. You know, I'm embarrassed of him. I mean, I'm sure to a certain degree she is embarrassed. Of course, I mean, I don't know. It's like she
I
has
know she is.
to do the Ben
Yeah.
script. She has to do the Ben script so he he sees how much she's agreeing with him. But
Yeah, and she has to package her embarrassment into Ben's logic of why she has it in the first place, and that it's not like it really something to be ashamed or embarrassed of in the first place. It's just you. It's just your problems. It's just how Courtney has conditioned you to like think and feel. And it'll get revealed that way. Like it just shows through Ben's behavior and what she says.
Working
like,
really closely together. Some issues, a lot of good things. But it's a lot closer than most father-daughter relationships. And I think when other people are around, I sort of get embarrassed for them to see that, even though obviously I broadcast it on the internet. But I don't know, something about somebody being there, I don't know, I just feel embarrassed because it's an unusual relationship.
It is.
So I tend to sort of distance myself from him, which in turn makes him feel like, well, what the fuck? Like,
right, there's if any of us, like even when we're kids, when we had our friends over, our parents would be in the background, and we would get to, as you get older and you have sleepovers and then you even become a teenager, your parents go in the background and you have your own identities, and you get to do your own thing, right? And Grace is 21 and Ben is essentially saying, you acted weird. I think what he's saying partially is, you didn't act like we were in a relationship.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Yes, that's his problem, is that she didn't act like his girlfriend and give him the girlfriend experience in front of other people.
But then
'Cause
also, yeah, but also I feel like if Grace really did that, I'm sure he would be horrified by people knowing about that too. Like I assume there's no way for right?
say that again?
Sorry,
There's
the
no way for
internet
her to
got
win. Yeah.
right. Whether she, I mean, I guess if she could agree with him or
Not
or
really. Like,
right, or sleep in the same bed with him, I think he'd still be mad,
yeah, totally. I mean, there is like what's weird about Ben is like he's equally paranoid as he is like wanting to boast about that and like showcase, like the fact that they are in like this kind of relationship together. Like he wants mainly like Grace to admit it, like shamelessly, and be like, I don't care, I'm with my dad, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Which is like, it's a huge fucking issue for Grace, because I don't think she's like ever gonna be comfortable with that, but it's like it is what Ben tries to push on her, which
But
in
also
turn,
they
I
have
don't
to.
think, yeah,
Sorry.
I don't even think that's like what he wants, but yeah, go ahead.
Right.
What's going on? I don't want to be with somebody who's embarrassed of me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll be like, I'm not embarrassed of you. I don't feel like I can. I just sort of have this, because it's just sort of like this thing. I just feel like I just really want people to think I'm normal, and then
That part.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like, but you're not normal, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not normal. And he's like, well, that's why you get so angry when you do this, because you're trying to like pretend that you're like normal to whoever you're trying to like mirror whoever is normal you encounter. You try to mirror what's normal for them so that they don't feel.
So what's normal for someone like Ruby, I assume, is that you're not in a alleged incestuous type relationship with your dad, right?
Right.
Keep in mind, Grace and Ben have even said that like they deny physical activity, but they've
But
said
they
that they have
call it
an
emotional
incestuous.
incest.
Right. But the point is like I think she understands that Ruby would think that's weird. So of course they wouldn't act that way, no
Yeah,
matter what.
they edit themselves, yeah.
Right. And then of course Ben wants her to edit herself, I think. And then when she does
I
it,
know.
he freaks out at her. And really this also just makes it to where she's afraid to hang out with Ruby. Sorry.
Or yeah, or anybody, I'm sure. And like, I mean, she specifically says like girls, like it's
Right.
harder for her to like hang out with other women. But yeah,
Right,
we'll see that.
totally.
I think she says that
Like
like
that they're
right.
with people who do something like different than them, like a different lifestyle. Oh, it's the same. I feel afraid of him when I shouldn't be afraid of him thing again. Grace, it's okay to have fun with people who aren't your dad. It's called having friends. No, I'm not saying that. I had fun with Ruby, and that's not the problem. I'm just saying I had fun with Ruby, but also another thing was going on where I was kind of like acting really different around him. I'm sure you guys saw that in stream, kind of like acting like I'm 16 again. I sort of regressed. And I think that's okay, that's interesting. I don't want to be 16 again. Because I made a lot of progress since then. But being around other people, especially a girl who is sort of, wants to have fun, kind of puts me back in that place. And I end up feeling guilty, like, I'm sort of regressing into like, I'm with my friend and dad. I don't remember this. That's just friends.
Sorry, this got like sped up.
I just wanted to get like it took her a long time to explain that whole thing.
But it also has to do with her being female. Not that, I'm not even gonna respond like, okay, you can fuck with me and say. I'm just saying I've done mostly male meetups, so I don't think I've ever met with a female. Saying female, I don't know what to call her, a girl. I've never done like a female streamer meetup, and so it's just different. And I'm very sensitive. Especially weird thing with other girls, where I'm just trying to make myself sort of like not vulnerable to them because I feel like they have this power of sort of calling me out as a female, as a fellow woman or whatever, and criticizing me extra hard. Because a guy, you can just say like, well, he wants my pussy and he's not going to get it, so cope, seethe, mold, whatever. It's easier. Okay. I just like, I haven't really been dealing with this. That's why I'm crying, just because like it's everything coming all at once, and I just haven't really been dealing with this. But like, I think that's partially what happened. Is like, because my mom turned on me, I have to say that's why. And because she kind of did this thing like, I know what you're doing as a woman, you're taking my man, and she did this whole fucking thing with me. It's just hard for me to connect to women because I always feel like they're judging me, especially my relationship with my dad, and
But so what's weird is that Ruby wasn't judging her. She basically loved Grace and loved Ben and sounded like she just was like down to be part of the cult, in quotes. Like
right.
they found somebody that they've always wanted to be friends with, which is someone who does not disagree with them on anything. But no matter what, Ben is going to use that because whatever fucked up shit in his mind, whether guilt or not guilt, He's going to rage at Grace, and then Grace is going to have a breakdown. And we've seen these breakdowns a million times, you know? Like, he builds her up and he breaks her down, and it's just over and over again. But I feel like it's worth talking about because there's people that watch them and they kind of just think they're silly lolcows or whatever, and then they finally see how brutal Ben ends up being.
I'm gonna try to
For
hurt
sure.
me and interact with a woman. And that's my problem, not Ruby's. Ruby's was totally nice, but his mommy issues as fuck. It is mommy issues embodied. I have serious mommy issues that I haven't dealt with, and that is definitely where it comes from. And Ben is upset because why? Because I think I kind of like recreated I don't know, I just think like he was expecting for us to like collab with Ruby and we'd be like,
wouldn't this be better with a stand?
It absolutely would be.
So it fast forwards to Ben and Grace in McDonald's. We've cut out some of the she repeats herself a lot. So they end up eating with each other, and then he gets mad at her because she apparently uses the stand wrong, like while they're in McDonald's.
Wouldn't this be better with a stand?
It absolutely would be. I should have brought it in. But
how many years do you have to do something before you understand the basic tools?
So look, she can't even put the camera correctly while they're eating McDonald's, right? She doesn't even understand the basic tools of live streaming. I mean, this looks fine to me. How is it supposed to be framed? Like some cinematic wide angle lens, you know, whatever. It's
at your disposal to do it. 5, 10.
Ben really shoves it in his mouth.
Oh,
so, like I was saying, I think the issue, the Ruby experience for me was that being around somebody else, especially a girl, like made me try to mirror what she thought was normal to please her, which I don't.
It's just so weird she's saying it because Ruby seemed to think everything Ben and Grace did was totally normal.
I don't think
you know what I mean?
She was not like wanting me to do, but I just sort of did it.
Take your time.
Okay, sure. As a response.
I hate him.
Because I'm not. I have low self-esteem, I guess. I have low self-esteem about who I am and my relationship with my dad. And it's sort of something that I haven't dealt with. But that's just normal when you meet someone. Yeah, that's somewhat true. I just think there's an added element. Like, I get it when you meet somebody, you're not just going to be like, there is a sort of facade you put on to see like if they're okay with you and you're okay with them, and then you like slowly lower the facade. I do think that's generally how it works. But I just think for me, that's heightened because, like, for example, when
I think this is important. Hans Guru says, I think those sessions are preventative measures to ensure Grace is not straying too far after having contact with people outside the family. It was similar after Grace left for the Darius meetup. Yeah, I think that, yeah, it's a really good point. I think it's also just classic alleged like abuser stuff. Like if anybody who's outside of this relationship connects with you, we need to other them. We need to make sure we say, however you acted around this person was weird, and you need to make sure you deprogram yourself around them. You know what I mean? Like, she needs to make sure to see that Ruby could really fuck Grace up. Don't be too much of an individual around Ruby, Grace.
Right, because it's like, oh, the kind of definition of like Ben saying that she was acting strange is actually normal behavior that he wants to like critically analyze to switch to switch the whole thing to be like, no, it's actually like really strange that you were trying to act normal, you know?
Right.
When I realized that Ava was trying to get information out of Ruby, not that Ruby told her anything, and it wasn't like Ruby was like secretly reporting, but just in the like I saw that Ava was trying to get Ruby to say something weird was going on between me and my dad. She was like, has anything weird happened between them? This is what Ava said. Has anything weird happened to them yet? Like happened with them in the hotel room? I just like that put me on edge. And
Right, like I guess whatever Ava was talking to Ruby, but it's just drama. I didn't care less about that stuff.
because like I was walking around in my underwear in front of her and my dad, and like I get that this is the weird part. I get that me thinking about whether I'm coming across as weird to someone is probably going to make me come across as weird to them, but at a certain point you can't stop yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, this is like this weird feedback loop about her walking around in her underwear in front of Ben and Ava. I mean,
I get
Ruby.
that me, like, if I'm not just
sorry,
like, casual
Ruby
with
and
my
Ben.
dad,
Yeah.
and I'm like all uptight, she's probably going to think I'm hiding something. But the reason I'm uptight is because I'm like, maybe she's going to try to misinterpret something I do, and I just want to like be super normal for her.
Well, I just think what I think is weird is that she had these thoughts, which is like, is it normal for me to be in my underwear around my dad? I mean, it's probably normal for like girls to be in their underwear around each other, whatever. I don't know, but like, Grace,
around your dad, and
right? That's not normal. No, I just meant like Ruby and Grace, if they were it's like being in a bathing suit. I don't know. I'm not a girl, but what I'm saying is like Grace rightly probably was like thinking, oh, is this weird to be in my underwear in front of my dad? And Ruby, everyone has those kind of anxious thoughts, right? But I think that what does it make her think about? Is it making Grace think like, well, Ruby's gonna think that there's something going on between my dad and I? And it's like she has to like talk about every little thought that she had in relation to this, express it, confess it to the internet, confess it to her dad, to let everyone know that this is how she was feeling. Like, we know this is unhealthy behavior. She shouldn't have to confess this stuff, right? Like, we're having this,
she has every reason to be embarrassed by the dysfunction, which is like never gonna be acceptable to people, you know? Like,
that's a great point.
I said like, but like when other people think that it's unusual or strange, you know, they really mean fucked up and gross. And that's a judgment that society has on incestuous appearing relationships. And this does not mean that they are all wrong, or like society is wrong to have that perspective. Or that they're all like losers. Like Ben tries to like be like, just because like they think, oh, my dad would never do that with me, like, well, they should just go kill themselves, they're losers, you know what I mean? But that's like society at large. That's like a very normal perspective for good reasons, you know,
that we're against, that society frowns upon incest, right? We frown upon incest for a reason.
It's not like how it used to be for like society frowning on like being gay, like for those reasons, you know what I mean? Like, I think in their mind, in some way, they like feel like it's somewhat like, or at least Ben does. Like Ben feels like society is just like not progressive enough or something to like, embrace incest. I don't know.
Well, like Grace has even attacked us. If you guys have been in VCs, know that like we made like jokes about me and Amelia's relationship, and Ben has like jumped on it and obsessed with it. But Grace has essentially said like, you guys are in some kind of like sexual relationship that's considered strange, like, you know, you're like whatever BDSM or something, and it essentially equating that to incest. That it's just a kind of non-traditional relationship.
Yeah, it's just unconventional, and
Right.
society is like, this way. So,
I mean,
meaning
that's
that
the
it's like not progressive enough to see
right.
it as like normal.
I mean, that's the thing. For as much as Ben and Grace have especially recently denied the incest thing, there are times when they'll be like, "Well, if you think our relationship's weird and fucked up, what about this or what about that?" And it's always like a "what about" thing. You know what I mean?
And it just creates anxiety, and eventually, so you tried your best not to make stuff weird in front of everybody. By the way, Pope Lonergan, I did see what you said, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that you think it's authentic. I appreciate that, because whatever, I get that people say whatever, but I appreciate it. It's like it's not so much like, okay, I get obviously that Ava was looking for Ruby to like say like something weird happened between me and my dad sexually. Okay, whatever. And Ava wants that sort of. She wants to sort of like fuck with me in that way, even though all that shit is old and like 6 seasons ago at this point. But the thing is, like, it's just hard to explain. Like, I am trying to work with my dad. I am trying to let him lead and for me to listen to him. It is hard for me. Sometimes when it's hard for me, it comes out in dysfunctional ways between us.
Okay,
He'll pick up.
Here is Grace's like definition of the dysfunction, just like as like a context. Press play.
Okay.
On a vibe that I'm sort of like not listening to him. I'll lie about it. I'll gaslight to try to say like, no, I'm like on board. And anyways, there's just like a lot of dysfunctional patterns.
Right.
And
yeah,
I
thought
feel
the same
embarrassed
thing as
So she doesn't
like she doesn't say that it's not true, which that was like my first thought. I was like, oh, isn't that weird? Like I would think the response would be like, even though that's not true or whatever, but she just kind of writes it. She never like outright denies that stuff. So
because it's like it's not a perfect relationship. There are problems, and I feel oddly more comfortable streaming the problems than having them happen in front of somebody else. And I just feel
I think that's really like interesting. She's saying something that that I think some people have thought of, that Grace is protected by the stream being on. She says she'd rather stream the problems. But from what people like Courtney have said, is that they wanted the stream to be on because they felt protected by it. Ben couldn't go too far if the stream was on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Her friends in the chat are there.
For sure. Your friends are there. I don't know what it is too. It's like when they stream though too, like you're still just in the same room as just your dad, Ben. Like it's not like there's an IRL person, which it has to be different, like the way that they treat stream is like streaming is very weird in my opinion, because it's like it's totally against their own best interest to broadcast all of this stuff. But they do it in a way that they're like almost empowered by it. Like, but I don't. Yeah, but I think Grace, like you said, she does it also to not be alone at the same time in those like situations. Maybe.
So embarrassed because you know what's so embarrassing about it? It's like not only do I have to defend my relationship with him online, but like it's actually like there are a lot of problems with it too. And so like
So she admits there's problems with her and her dad's relationship.
Yeah, and Rudy, you're right. It did happen with Ava too. And this is just like a recurring problem that I have. And I mean, I believe that like if you're gonna like work with your dad, be streamers with your dad, live with your dad, sleep in the same RV as your dad, blah 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 blah, all those things everybody knows about. And people might say like, well, yeah, that's weird. Oh, you guys are weird. You guys are too close. You need to get away from each other, blah blah blah. I just feel like, yeah, okay, I should be aware of that and be like, yeah, I don't care. I get it. You think it's weird. I don't care. I'm trying to work with him. It's an unusual relationship. Not many people do this. I get it. IRL streaming and streaming your lives with your dad is not something most people my age do. I can't name a single other person who does it.
I can't name another. I mean, that's why people watch the Shamu documentaries, right? Because filming every dark and fucked up thing about your life and putting it online for the world to see is at least not now. It's normal. I mean, maybe in 20 years it'll be with the way things are going. But yeah.
And so I shouldn't care about the criticisms. You know what I mean? I shouldn't care about that. But I do.
Right. She does.
And I just think, like, you know, if somebody's going to be something weird or unusual online, like, if you're going to, whatever you do, you should just be behind it and just say, like, okay, yeah.
I mean, Grace seems pretty behind it.
But that's a bit manipulation that she's not behind it enough right now. So yeah, like she's like, you should just be, if you're gonna have this crazy, fucked up, dysfunctional relationship with your dad, like why be ashamed if everybody already knows about it? And just and like we've talked about that, like how Ben really does try to eradicate any sense of shame in Grace. To be shameless is to be like what do you call her, a killer? That one stream.
Yes.
So,
I mean, that was the kick stream, I think. Like she needed to be a killer. I think it was.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I moved to the stream from, I think it was the day after, maybe a couple days after, where Grace and Ben are using their new microphone. And this is what we titled our stream about, which is Ben has this weird idea that they need to role play as boyfriend and girlfriend. And this is one of the few times that you see Grace really not into it and that she's not feeling it, you know? So, yeah.
If you're a 10, he's a 7. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Muted?
You are a 10, Dave.
So it begins with Ben. He's trying to, I don't know, push the audience. Embarrass her.
Yeah.
It feels connected to this Ruby thing of stop being afraid of me, stop being ashamed. Let's role play this relationship.
He's being extra nice to me because he made me cry. That's fucked up.
Fucking love it.
That is fucked up.
You need that. You need to be broken.
You hit me.
You need that. You need to be broken. You love to cry. He says that. He said that in other streams.
They're like,
that's my school right there.
Oh, wait. This is important, guys.
3 schools right in the same area, which is stupid, but this is my school right here.
And why
Classical
don't you
high
want to open
school.
a business here?
Bubble tea house, spent a lot of time there. Classic cafe, never
open a
went.
business here, kids? Because nobody pays for anything at the store.
Oh, classical's not looking too good these days. God damn.
This is the elite school. Look at this fucking
This is my school.
Depressing.
Science class up there.
I remember I used to pick you up here, Grace, right?
Yeah.
When we would go on like what your mother and brother consider our dates.
So there, Ben says it. It's what your mother and brother consider our dates. And Ben talked to me on an early stream about how they would go on these dates where Ben would take Grace out for like sushi or to like, I don't know, Chinese restaurants or something. And they would do BYOB. Grace would wear hats from the local college so she looked older so she can get to like 21 and up restaurants or like bars. Or maybe it was just that so she could drink in the BYOB places. Ben is always going to he's a stickler about details. This is my best memory of it. But watch how Grace reacts. Also, I think that whoever this is might be Ben or Grace, as a side note. Because psychoanalyzing without any relevant degrees is a waste of time. It might be them. Maybe we're being, weird, but it seems like it could be them.
Remember?
Yeah. Yep.
We go like, let's not go home. It's too crazy back there.
Yep. I remember. That's my school.
This is where you first told me you were into pornography.
Here's another thing.
Yeah.
Grace tries to ignore it. Ben says, this is where you first told me you were into pornography. So if Grace is like, let's say she's 16, he's picking her up from school. They're going on special private times. And he's asking her about what porn she's into.
Did I?
Or that she's into porn.
Wasn't I driving you or something? And you're like,
I was like, oh, that's okay. And I was like, what kind of pornography are you into? And you're like,
Classical high school.
Blowjobs.
Look, Grace tries to not talk about it again.
Yeah,
You
she's embarrassed 100%. It's just like she's trying to like deflect it. It's like horribly embarrassing, you know?
Right. And we didn't say this stuff. We're talking about this because Ben said it. Why wouldn't we discuss this? This is insane shit on the internet. Like, we're just discussing it. This is what came from Ben's mouth.
I was like, okay.
Those are the tennis courts back there.
Right. She's trying to ignore it.
Answer?
Look, he says you didn't answer, Grace. That's making me feel weird. You didn't answer.
Back when I was not as free and laissez-faire with
This is
my
where the youth pride
pornography
is.
choices. Can I have a cigarette?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Am I allowed to call you babe?
I
Grace.
allow you to call me babe.
I allow you to call me babe.
Grace, I hate to say this.
Yeah.
Neither of us are ever going to get laid. Okay, which is a bigger deal for you than me. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because I already got 6 kids.
Why do you say I'm never
Fucking
gonna get
hate 'em.
laid? You don't think I'm ever gonna get laid?
Unless, but let me think, unless we can prove that we can be with someone of the opposite sex and have a non-conflictual experience.
Um.
So, despite all the hesitations we might have about it, I don't think you're ever going to get laid by anyone unless you can kind of show that you can be with a man.
So Ben's saying, like, if you want to get with a guy, you need to role play as my girlfriend.
Because he's like,
In a night.
you need to show people that you're capable of being a girlfriend or whatever.
This way, and that's me.
Yeah.
Because no one's gonna come near you until. Do you see what I'm saying?
I've had offers.
Have you? Who?
Yeah. I've had several men offer to make me their wives.
Who?
I'm not going to say specific names.
Yeah, like OPC Don. Yeah, I get it. But I mean, I'm talking about.
No,
a
not
real
him, actually.
guy.
I'm saying an actual man with a job. Yes.
Yeah, a man with a job, but you don't even know these people.
Okay.
So now it's like the goalposts have moved for Grace.
You need
Whatever.
to be able to have a sexual relationship with someone of the male persuasion.
Mm.
But in order to do that, you need to normalize your relationship with me.
Who said
No.
bowling?
Look at these guys.
Can I have another cigarette?
Sure, babe.
Thanks,
Like-
darling.
Again, it's like this weird, like, you have to have this response. If I say babe, you say darling.
Entertain the bit.
Let's just give the
We
people
role
what they
playing?
want. Warmth. What do you think? I mean, you got
Think you're an
chicks
icky
putting
pervert.
cigarettes out on your thigh.
I think
she
you're an
said-
icky pervert.
I think you're an icky pervert. In response to, what do you think about role playing? Come on, let's do it.
Right.
And I think that is like her, you know.
Why would she say that?
Look at her face. That she's being very serious.
Let's see it
like-
again.
Just fucking.
I mean, you got
You're an
chicks
icky
putting
pervert.
cigarettes out on your thigh. Don't you need like a kind? I mean, you got
You're an
chicks
icky
putting
pervert.
cigarettes out on your thigh. Don't you need like a kind of like spout? We should
I'm
develop
crying in
kind
a
of
Best Buy.
spousal.
Oh, that's that's something that's true. Remember, Grace got very upset that they got some money from selling the gold coin, and then Ben kind of pushed them into spending $900 on this microphone that they don't need and some other shit,
Yeah.
right? And
Or
she was crying. She
Retail
was really upset.
therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
Relationship.
Yeah.
You think that would be weird?
No.
I mean, that's what everyone.
So you
wants
just
to
said,
see.
let's pretend
Yeah.
to have a spousal relationship. Wouldn't that be weird?
Hmm.
All right, babe.
Okay, babe.
Grace is, in my opinion, uncomfortable. Visibly.
Yeah.
Yes, babe.
Oh, my back is filled with sweat.
Yeah.
I mean, we are sleeping.
But see, her doing this like fake, this like, ugh. I guess that's her doing a role play thing too. If Grace was like watching this,
Mhm.
like, look, I'm doing my own anti bit too, where it's like, oh, I'm grossed out by Ben. But maybe that's a version of the I want to like appear like I'm normal thing.
Yeah,
It's confusing.
it
It's
is.
always confusing.
Yeah, totally. And right here he says like, I mean, we are sleeping together, honestly. Everyone knows it. I think he just like keeps pushing her. Look at her face. She's like disgusted.
Yeah.
In a genuine kind of sense that he keeps like egging on these allegations. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Not beating the allegations today.
We're leaning into them today. Oh, I've never seen these tugboats actually out.
Shameless says Grace will be fine if she cuts the cord more. People usually don't want to date a grown woman and her Klingon father. Sorry, Ben, but you need an actual woman, not a daughter stand-in.
I know, but she should be what she needs to, so I can get some action. Is she needs to be a person who can show that I have boyfriend capabilities. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You
I
see what I'm saying?
see. Yep.
But I'm not just like, hey, give me this.
But
You know what I
wouldn't
mean? I
you
gotta be like, hey,
show?
babe, what's up?
Wouldn't you show that you have boyfriend capabilities by showing that you have boyfriend capabilities?
They don't give me Grace. Have you seen these bitches? They don't give you the time of day.
For that whole thing. Yeah, pretty much. No, I said if you don't pretend to be my kind of girlfriend. You know what I mean?
So she needs to pretend to be his girlfriend today.
Yeah. That I'm a great father? With a 20.
She just said, shouldn't you be showing that you're a great father? That's what she said.
Oh,
21-year-old that I sleep with?
With the 21-year-old that I sleep with? So again, it's like there's like they're playing games and then revealing truths and playing games and revealing truths. It's really
obfuscating. Yeah.
right. Ben loves to obfuscate.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be kind of like girlfriendish?
Well, because wait, his whole logic is that like, I need to get laid, so I need to show a girl that I'm a good boyfriend. But then she like makes that point that's like, well, then shouldn't you act like you're in love with me and be nice to me and showing me that you're like a really nice dude? And then he's like, no, that's not what it's about. He's like, you need to be the one that gives me the girlfriend experience. But it's like, yeah, he just like makes up some bullshit like thing for her to go along with. But he's like, Grace is smart enough to be like, I don't want to do this. But then she tries to be like, I have the ability to at least like critique him in the way that like is acceptable. Like,
right. Then be
yeah.
my yeah.
I protect you from the bad people. I buy you shit.
I protect
How's it
you
different
from
than
the
a girlfriend? I mean, I have you buy me shit.
Oh, we all know that's allegedly a way for Ben to hide funds from Courtney. He's basically said it to Lalo on the other day, but that's an alleged thing.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what to buy me. Okay, you're my sugar mama, but I tell you what to buy me and you cry about it because you feel like you're getting raped or whatever. That's the part that we can't have anymore. You got to be like, oh my God, you're so smart about the technology. Otherwise, I'm never getting any.
Why don't you say, whatever you want to call it? Why don't you say, well, I mean, like, so you sleep with your father, okay? So
Yes, I do.
am I a nice sleeping partner?
Yes.
Yeah. We watch TV.
Yep.
This is what bitches want.
We lay
never talk about that.
cheek to cheek.
This is what bitches want.
I'm the big spoon, by the way.
You're supposed to go, look, Daddy told me to buy some nice equipment. That's so nice of him. I love my new microphone that he encouraged me, guided me to buy.
I would like to have more of that attitude.
But instead, you come in here.
Grace just seems very low energy and sad. And Grace got very upset about them spending a bunch of money they just got. and this is some way for Ben to manipulate her to push something on her,
Crying, and everyone's like, "What happened?" And they're like, "Well,
to push specific behavior.
he raped me financially, sort of, but I don't want to talk about it." Why don't
Well,
you
but
just go
I have anxiety.
Pop my cherry on retail tech. You've never paid full price for anything, Chris.
I've never paid full price for anything.
For anything more than $50, right?
He got a deal on the microphone they didn't need.
You feel dirty going into a store and buying a microphone.
Oh, yes.
Well, also, she's, in my opinion, allegedly following Ben's manic desire to buy things that they don't have enough money to buy. We've heard from other people that Ben would get very manic and like go on eBay and buy a bunch of crazy shit, apparently. So that's, maybe, we're not therapists, we don't know, but maybe elements of his mania or whatever. He people love buying stuff, but it seems interesting. Grace didn't want to buy stuff, and then she fell apart. I'm sure that she was like, "What are we doing? We're broke."
I think honestly, Grace is a much more organized person, and that's like a lot of her job that she's signed up for. But then Ben goes against all of her actual work to try, at least like she tries, I think, in like the slightest ways to be conscious and organized about things, but he's so impulsive.
Well,
and
yeah,
she
you
kinda
can
has
never.
to just do it,
Yes,
know?
you can never keep up with him, obviously.
Need for your job. You've been fucking, and I appreciate it, and I agree with it. Like trying to make it work without having a microphone.
Yeah.
In here, this is actually supposed to be a mobile studio.
And it's fun. I agree.
It
I'm
is.
enjoying using my mic.
Yeah, but if you go in there, then you can't really like.
Okay.
Hello.
So
Have I eaten anything today? I think
so. They decide to take a nap in the back of the van, right?
so.
Mhm.
Oh, roast beef. Make me a roast beef sandwich. Grace,
Yeah.
put this blind up. Let's have the light. Whoa, what happened? Let's have the light in and the heat out. This sucks a dick. I want machines cooling me off. I want it like a refrigerator in here. Look at you, you're getting crazy. You do that off camera, you notice. Scare me. I'm documenting it right here and now.
How is she getting crazy?
You're scaring me.
What?
But
I
you
think
do it in a
that
way
way-
that a camera can't
Frustrated with the blinds or
Oh,
something.
right.
You know?
see.
So it's
And he's
okay
like,
for her to be angry, right?
Yeah.
It's okay for her to be angry or frustrated about blinds not working, and maybe she feels freaked out. If like she doesn't do it right, Ben might get mad at her.
Okay, well, I'm just documenting that you are looking away from the camera and you look like I'm scared. See, now this is why you're never going to get laid either. Because do you know how scary you are to like autistic guys? They're like literally like crying right now.
He laughed at her being
Her
frustrated.
frustration. Yeah.
Yeah, he like got off.
Because yeah, I might be stronger than you, but I can't hit you.
Whatever.
I can't. No, do it better.
No, I
Please.
can't.
Please,
This
I
is
would
what I
love it.
cool off.
It would be
Cool off.
autistically. I would love it.
Cool off.
I would love it if all of it was even. That would be really.
He wants the blinds to
Okay,
be
that's no
even.
problem. Okay,
You do it, Ben. You fucking do it.
Considering it's broken.
fine. Sometimes you just take the L. Okay, we're gonna fix it. All right. Hey, Grace. Are we having a great time? We're gonna have a great time here. Look, I'm gonna get these things hung like this, and we're just gonna. Is this gonna be fun?
Yeah.
You and me. We'll be in bed with chat,
Yes.
and I'll wake up in the morning and be like,
That sounds great.
"Hey guys, what's up?" And I can have it extended and everything.
Yeah.
Lower. Hey guys, this is what it's like to be sleeping with me and sleeping with. I'll be like, I don't think you're
Why am I
overstimulated.
so unhappy? That's what
Right,
Grace
let's hear
said.
that again. Why am I so unhappy?
I don't think you're overstimulated.
So Grace is unhappy. She's upset.
I don't think you're overstimulated.
That's kind of a Thorpism. I think we're all aware of that. The term overstimulation. I don't know really what it means sometimes. I don't know if the chat could answer that. Is it like you're anxious or you feel like you're going to lose your mind because you've been talking to Ben Thorp for 8 hours or something. But if anybody in the chat can give their opinion as to what the definition of overstimulated is, please let me know.
Everything's clustered. Nothing's organized.
No, Grace.
I'm not grateful. I get it. I'll get a whole lecture about how I'm not grateful.
From whom?
My mother in my head.
Your inner mother. Thank you for clarifying. It's not me.
Oh, look. She said I'm going to get a lecture for not being grateful. And then Ben's like, I'm not going to do it. It's your inner mother.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be abusive.
Make sure you tell the chat that it's not me.
It's always Courtney.
Voices. Grace never reading chat is cool. Hey, Grace, babe, listen. We're going to just chill out right here.
Means you're overwhelmed.
What these N-words say. We'll hang out with chat, watch ourselves on 2 monitors, and maybe fall asleep together so people can see what it's like to sleep with your daddy.
So he's laughing. She's totally crying.
Right. But also it's like, again, this is the obfuscation. This is if Ben and Grace were to stream about it, they go, we were joking. This was like a psychological psychodrama that we were role playing. Okay. This isn't real. It's like there's always like layers and layers of irony and jokes and psychological games. So it's never real. Like the beer bottle event, you guys are aware of that, where Grace sucked a beer bottle between Ben's legs. That's always considered a psychodrama. It's a way to like make Courtney realize that this is all in her head. But what's the actual act? The actual act is fucked up and awful, and nobody should do that to their dad. Right? But it's in layers and layers but we did it because of X, Y, or Z. You know what I mean? He usually uses overstimulated when he gets irritated and wants silence.
Grace sleeping with her dad. Needs to know. Oh, thanks so much, honey. No mayonnaise? Oh, okay.
Look, she made him a roast beef sandwich.
Really good. These aren't the buns I was referring to.
No, they're better.
Okay.
Ben's weird thing about food.
Being served.
Yeah.
Being served by women.
While he's on his back.
Yes, it is bizarre, Shamu.
Right. Take my sandals off.
Take my sandals off.
Thank you, honey. You sweetheart. Do you feel like it's okay to do the GF experience for me?
Do you feel like it's okay to do the GF experience for me?
Listen to what she says.
Do I feel like it's okay? I have to do it either way.
Do I feel like it's okay? I feel like I have to do it either way. I don't have a choice. It's kind of whispered because the fucking mic they got only lets one person. Yeah, it only picks up one person. Jeez. Yeah. But anyway, a lot of people might not have caught that. Amelia caught that. Props to Amelia for catching it. Let's do it. Let's listen to it.
I have to do it either way.
I feel like I have to do it either way. I don't have a choice. Talking about the GF-VF experience.
Yeah.
Well, you're giving me more like my ex experience.
Oh, so she's acting like Courtney. That's a great thing to say.
Yeah, if you're not doing the girlfriend experience, then you're acting like Courtney, right? There's not a gray area between those. You're either doing one or the other.
You're giving me the Courtney experience.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the only GF experience you've ever known. So.
No, I had other GFs.
Didn't one of them have roomie or something?
Yeah. I could have had a nice GF, but I felt like I couldn't relate to a nice person.
That's weird, by the way. I couldn't relate to a nice person.
Yeah.
I could have bagged your brother's trust.
All right, Chris.
He loves
I-
chomping with his
Even your
mouth
mother was
open.
never was nicer than that.
Oh, look, he's like, because she was like, oh, yeah, bros. She's making fun of Ben by saying that. I could have bagged her bros' trust. That's what she said. And he's like, oh, look, you're being snippy to me. Even Courtney wasn't snippy, you know?
Mm.
What if we sue her, she's going to be working for us. We're going to be like getting like half her paycheck every month.
Okay, right. This is this idea that they're gonna sue Courtney in divorce court or something, and that
Mhm.
Courtney will have to pay child support. That's Ben's dream, I guess. I think allegedly maybe there was a plan to like move in Tommy and the kids into the apartment that they never stay in, and that like Courtney's paycheck would be paying the rent so they could get. I think Ben's dream is that Courtney would pay him. He loves when women
Yeah.
feed him and women give him money. None of this is going to happen, in my opinion. It's crazy. She's working multiple jobs now for the kids, but this is these
every week,
Yeah.
right? And child support too.
We should get her whole paycheck.
What?
We should get her whole paycheck.
We should get her whole paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they're going to give her just enough to like live on and say like, that really sucked. You have to pay for your kids now, and for fucking with this guy's life, who was totally and utterly innocent. So, I mean, we can just every week like show ourselves going to the bank and like cashing the check.
Oh, so they get off on
So-
torturing her.
Well,
That's the
he's
idea.
getting into this mood of like
Fantasy.
yes, because like in a second, because he's like obviously on this kick of being like, let's get revenge on Courtney. Let's like I want this perfect revenge. She will pay child support, and then it leads to him being like, let's fuck with Courtney by pretending to be girlfriend and boyfriend. Like in this, and he
The
talks
trolling.
about how it's to troll Courtney.
Mhm.
Just but which is super confusing because they like rant about how it's like, well, this is like the lie, right? Like Courtney and John saying like like the whole lie is that they
We're in it.
sleep together or whatever, right? But then like what's the point in like leaning into the allegations? You know, that's
Mhm.
always super confusing. But
Cashing the check, every week.
Oh yeah,
So thanks.
yeah.
Or what else would be for the lawsuit?
Yeah.
Which we clearly would win.
This is Ben already. He knows he wants to get Grace to agree to suing Courtney or suing whoever, the FBI thing that she doesn't ever agree with. Okay, let's talk about this chatter. I really want you guys to see how evil Grace is. She stole the money from her mom's. Like we know about it wasn't even 115,000 allegedly. From our understanding, when Ben sold those houses, it was closer to 700,000. That's my understanding allegedly. Yeah, Courtney didn't see any of that money. And then there's a stream where Ben manipulated Courtney into agreeing to give all that money to Grace.
we should talk about that sometime. We
will.
We'll stream about that eventually. That
Like 700
specific stream.
Right. And I think that was wrong. She wasn't in the right frame of mind to essentially agree to Ben and Grace Ben taking off with the money. Also, I think we could talk about like, is Grace evil? Is she irredeemable? I'm less worried about that right now because she's done awful stuff. Like when she kidnapped Joey.
We've talked about that. Yeah.
Right. When she
In our
kidnapped
last
Joey,
stream.
that was horrifically bad, and she was just being Ben's, evil monkey. But I would,
Yes.
yeah,
The
I would,
puppet in the situation.
yeah, I would say that I would like to see the kind of person that Grace is when she's not connected to Ben, and maybe that will never happen. But I do think that I hopefully could see that someday. But there's things that she's done, no matter the abuse that she allegedly suffered under Ben, that are really awful. But I think that if what we believe, which is that Grace was abused by Ben, I think that she's in a really bad place too. So it's complicated. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's really complicated. Yeah, I'm not. None of us are coming out of this just saying that Grace is a completely innocent victim, but she is a victim, and victims can do things that are wrong too. Yeah.
You don't think that she's gonna want to go on there and go like, that bastard?
Maybe.
I mean, she's even doing it with her lawyer. She wants to know.
Well, it says airing out the recording of her sister was completely vile. Yes, that was terrible. For people that don't know, Grace on one of the last live streams played a recording of her 15-year-old sister Maggie crying and screaming and having a breakdown, and it was not cool. And the whole chat was like disgusted with it. Yeah.
Who I've been on trips with overnight, and it's like, yeah, our daughter. Where were you?
This part is so weird.
Grace.
No, you're gonna get sick of me.
No, Grace.
You're gonna say I'm
Grace.
crazy, and I am.
Can
I
you
don't even want
Grace, can you let me finish my sentence?
Look, she knows if the camera was off or not, at some point he's going to flip and just scream at her. And it's like she doesn't want to even let the fake nice Ben last. She's freaked out by him. Look at her.
He's also being incredibly weird and reckless and being all touchy-feely, which is embarrassing her. It's a weird moment in what she says and how she reacts to that when he just says like Grace, and then she turns around and is like, no, you're not gonna like me. It's a really weird moment. In some way it makes me feel like because he wants her to kind of lean into it. But then she says like, you're not gonna like me like by the end of this. So it's like it's kind of weird because it's like if she leans into it and does what he wants, which is to destroy her reputation, he has like that power to just like treat her like shit all the time. Anyway, there's no like reward in it for her in the end. She doesn't know what the point is of acting
Right. Of this game.
like yeah, totally.
Right, because it'll always end with him allegedly abusing her or being abusive to her.
Yeah, and like in the end, like ruining your reputation for him is going to be super pointless when all he does is abuse you and treat you like shit and doesn't sympathize with you ever.
I love it when you cry.
Do you hear that? I love it when you cry. That was the second time he said that. Let's hear that.
Very much. You're so cute. I love it when you cry.
She doesn't seem like she's having fun or it's a fun joke. She does not seem like she's having a good time.
We got cigarettes. It's getting cooler in here, theoretically. I don't feel it. Do you?
No.
Why does the fucking air conditioning blow forward? I need it down here. Maybe we should clean those filters out. I'm sure they're gross.
Yeah.
Oh. Listen, honey. Can you get Daddy his new little dash cam? I think that'd be fun.
Okay.
Give me a kiss.
Give me a kiss.
Big Tech.
Flip it. Oh, the lemonade. It's fun.
That's okay.
I mean, obviously, there's really nothing to say here. It just seems weird, uncomfortable, and Ben can say, dads kiss their daughters all the time, and it's a very specific context.
Okay, I love it like that.
That's my lemonade and gin.
Oh, that's no problem. It's sweet like you are. I love it in my arm, on all the sheets. Tell them what happened last night. All right, Grace. Just take that and put it somewhere. It's just going to get lost. It's going to end up in my anus. All right, so look. This is fun. Do you like technology, Grace? It's pragmatic.
Audio is too low. Kill yourself.
Ish. Grace,
Ish.
can we revert to the other camera,
I
please?
cut out all of this unbearable shit
I think we
Right.
should go to
when
Best Buy and
he
buy
made her change cameras, and then he does it again.
and those things.
Right.
Babble and watch TV.
He made her
and
get
tell
like the
them to
dash cam.
I don't
Which has
care
worse
whether you
quality.
like me or not.
Yeah.
Shitty camera, Grace.
Oh, it's too low. Oh, I know. I
Big?
know. I didn't realize. Now we can hear.
Grace.
Ben has a BBC.
All right, I'm having a good time officially.
I need to get drunk. This fucking sucks.
Why can't the lemonade ever be cold? Is that
The fridge doesn't work, genius.
why are you mad at me?
She's
Bachelor.
mad.
Ben, stop stroking the mic.
It's a Coke can. It's black. It's everything I aspire to be. In a microphone. Where's our ashtray, bitch?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Let me see. Okay, it's
Here.
back.
Oh God, you've got gin in there.
I told you it did.
Oh, she put alcohol in there. You see that?
Yeah, well, she just said, I want to get drunk. This fucking sucks.
Right.
Come here, Grace. Let's publicly snuggle.
Oh, yeah, this part.
Let's publicly
Your
snuggle.
mother says your mother wants $200,000 if you snuggle with me. Okay. Is it worth it? Let's do it. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Guys, the secret hidden. Mr. Girl is wanking it right now.
It's just interesting to me that he does this cuddling thing, and then all he can think about is Mr. Girl and the questions that Mr. Girl asked about incest. Remember?
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah, and that he was jealous. He admitted that he was like
That's what Mr.
jealous of him
Girl
or
said
whatever.
that. Yeah, Mr. Girl said, "I'm jealous of you being in a relationship with your daughter," and Ben was like, "This is one of the few times I've seen Ben. I'm not like praising Mr. Girl or anything, but one of the few times I've seen Ben like be genuinely kind of shocked because he was like, just tell me, you know, what you did with your
Well,
daughter."
He did it as like a way to be. I mean, he coaxed Ben by saying that. He was like, I'll tell you, I will admit that like I'm jealous of you if you tell me on the scale of 1 to 10 what's the worst thing you've done with Grace. And he like at the end didn't answer it anyway, but
Right.
it was really weird.
Right. He
The
could have
whole
just said, "I
thing,
haven't done anything
you
with
know.
Grace." Right.
No, he
Mr.
said in the
Girl,
end, he
Mr.
said, Grace, I would have to ask Grace's consent before I tell everybody in the chat what like the worst thing on the scale was.
Mm-hmm.
F slur.
Oh, that's cute, isn't it?
No, it's dirty.
Is that allowed? What if I go like this as you snuggle?
Oh my God. So look, he's pretending to have an erection while he cuddles with his daughter, even as a joke. Call me, you know, what do they always say?
Girl clutcher.
A pearl clutcher. I just think it's very inappropriate behavior for a father.
It's
Now they can't hear
disgusting.
us.
I know, but it was a good joke.
Even as a joke. No, it's not.
Even as
Even
a
as
joke.
a joke, it's disgusting. It's yeah.
Start stroking the mic, Grace.
I'm moral fagging. I mean, I'm moral fagging. I guess all I can say is that, like, as a person that I'm interested in extreme art and true crime and all kinds of stuff, I just think there's like a level where a father has a duty to not do that to his children. That as a father or a mother, your duty is to protect your children. And I think that doing that to Grace is not. Oh, oops. Sorry, Distinction. God, I got trolled. You won. Sorry, buddy. I got trolled. Have a good night, Truth Seeker. Thanks for hanging out in chat and talking and
This is
giving your
cool,
opinion.
Grace. We finally made it.
I got trolled.
Your hair feels better, cleaner.
Yep. Classic,
And,
classic Rusty, as Jamie would say.
Much different. Right? Are you saying that she gave? I'm just asking. Did she give you a blowout? Do you care to sweeten the deal? Do you care to make it a little more interesting?
Whoa, we like grabbed her head. He grabbed her head for that kiss.
She looks very uncomfortable, even though she's kind of like, I can get into this. Like, I just
Or
have
I'll
to giggle my way through it falsely, you know?
Yes.
This is getting to be very intimate content.
I'm
Grace.
very
Love it.
angry.
I'm very angry.
You want to watch TV?
This will encourage more incest rumors.
So she knows.
Yeah, and you're gooning to them right now. So, I love this skirt, by the way. It's so
Yeah.
cute.
Do you like it?
He said she's gooning to the
Mhm.
incest rumors being
Right.
spread.
Right.
I think it looks adorable. It's like trashy chic.
It is
I
trashy.
am Rover.
It's Walmart.
It's cute. It's like trailer park girl. I love it.
You ruined your beautiful hair.
Him. How about I pay him and that you give him a hand job?
What's that?
I'll put your hand virginity on the line.
Role playing as a pimp.
Right.
Well, that's exploitative. Grace got a haircut today because I wanted to give her some. You know, girls, they need
Oh, this is like a
a
huge
lot of
part of the
therapy when they're
conversation.
angry, but it doesn't help
It's been cut out.
usually because they're just still angry.
Same
Right.
time, right?
Yeah,
This is
you're right,
Dalmatian.
Yeah.
All right. So should we discuss a Dalmatian dog? Like Dalmatian dog is one of the guys who'd call in all the time, and he recently saw them on stream, and I don't know. We could have a whole stream about Dalmatian dog, but like essentially, all I can say is like I would call him like a person who really is obsessed with Grace and really liked Grace, and I guess he just like doesn't connect that the reason that Grace like isn't interested in him or in that specific way is because she's in an allegedly
Committed.
relation with her dad. Yeah, she's even said that. I'm a committed relationship with my dad.
She has, yeah.
She has said that. You know, and recently, if everyone checks out Shamu's Twitter, his X account, some DMs of Dalmatian talking to Grace were posted, and Grace says they're negative $138, and Dalmatian offered her money for his dick pic to like review it.
To rate, yeah, to review.
To rate it. Yeah. Anyway, I think he's got some, you know, whatever. He has a complicated relationship with Grace. He's got some, but that's who that is talking.
Right. I agree. You could say like it sucks, mom, but like go ahead, be the fucking retard you are, and I guess you'll never change. And I'm not even gonna try anymore because you suck so much. I think that's fine. Why not say that?
Okay, yeah,
but
she sucks.
I want the judge to have to ask you a few goddamned questions. Well, she already has provably lied a number of times.
They're talking about
and the lawyer's
Courtney.
going to be like, all right, that's gold. Lied in a way that caused me to get arrested 4 fucking times.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
Courtney's
wait.
doing for sure.
So he got arrested when he kicked John, which is on camera.
When he
and
kicked
then
Grace, that was also on camera. Somebody totally
he pushed Grace with his
random who
foot.
was watching.
Then he broke
called
the
the cops.
NCO. Then he broke the NCO, got arrested, and then broke it the second time. So yeah, it's 4 times.
You think the justice system is going to back that? You're not even attractive.
Courtney's not attractive, whatever that means. Like, how does that? Like,
Yeah, whatever. You're checked out. You're going
I'm reading
on
the chat.
the internet.
Just reading the chat. I'm sitting here spiraling. I'm not contributing anything. I better read the chat. I'm just freaking out. I'm losing.
Well, why do you have to despair of everything?
I'm not despairing. I'm just.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I'm despairing.
Why don't you have a conversation with the panelist, who is a nice guy, who
Because he's gonna tell me I'm a failure, just like everybody else.
he doesn't tell you you're a failure.
He's gonna say everything everybody else does,
No.
and it's true.
Dalmatian dog doesn't say everything everyone else does.
What's he gonna say? It's so fucking gay.
True
You
distinction.
make me feel better.
Well, why
I
do
feel
you
like I'm a
why do you
loser.
have to
Yeah,
say
you are a
like
loser.
why do you have to say like you know what he's going to say?
What is somebody gonna say? Even if they're a nice person, if I say like, yeah, I feel like
Well,
a
he
failure,
said
and I'm angry all the time, and
he
I'm a
said-
cunt.
he said you shouldn't feel ashamed that you have a close relationship with your dad. I think that's a nice thing to say. I don't think that's what everyone else says.
Yeah,
So
it is.
Yeah.
he's saying, well, Dalmatian dog isn't the same as everybody else because he thinks it's totally fine what you're doing. And so we can tell, like, yeah, here's a good like example of the fact that Ben only lets in like certain people close to Grace who aren't going to think that way, and
Right,
who
they're
do
simps.
express to him like, yeah, the
Right.
simps will always be like, oh, I don't really think it's real. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You're just in a really close relationship with your dad. It's not unhealthy.
Right. I mean, they even let Lalo back. You know, Lalo, you know, he's gotten Ben to admit some crazy shit. We've used his clips before, but I guess for some reason Lalo has a crush on Grace, and recently he met up with them on a stream and smoked weed and stuff. And I just don't think that it makes, like, why hang out with Ben Thorp, right? Like, why do it? Lalo knows the kind of guy that Ben Thorpe allegedly is, and the behavior. And I guess he wants to hang out with Grace more. I guess that's the answer. Same with Dalmatian and all these people, and with Ruby is kind of different. But I'm not trying to moral fat or like pearl clutch, but I just don't think I don't think it's worth doing. And they always end up fucked over and made fun of anyway. Like OPC Dawn, she does all this stuff for them and then gets made fun of and fucked over anyway.
It's all humiliating.
They don't care about you. They don't care about anybody but themselves.
Nice thing to say.
Well, and you have trouble with that, and that's understandable because almost everyone else in our chat, who are mostly retards, let's be honest, do say that, and he's saying like they're wrong. So
yep.
Why do you have to say like I know what he's going to say? He's going to put me down like everyone else does. That's so gay.
I'm not saying he's gonna. Okay.
Yeah, you are. You're saying like, why should I listen to him? He's going to put me down. You're such a fag.
I am a fag.
Yeah, but that agreeing with me now it's inconsistent with what you said. Anything. So whenever she spends money on anything, she feels guilty, but it's actually just anger.
So I'm gonna go to the. So I'm gonna move on.
Dad
We're kind of
very
close
much,
to the end.
and he loves me very much. And I'm
Oh
more
wait, go back
confident.
a little bit, please.
To the last clips.
Just what you said
spending
right
money.
there.
She's not even worth
Here?
spending money.
Here? Or go up a little bit. Let's see.
You know what I mean?
It's just something he said.
Get drunk.
Really
Whatever,
force
but if it's
myself to
always the
do
same
that.
thing, like I'm angry at my dad for no reason and I abuse him, isn't that compelling? No, it sucks.
Okay, I can't force myself out
Grace doesn't abuse her dad. I'm sorry.
of that, but I get what you're saying. It's
You
old
can't-
content.
You can't do anything other than just this loop over and over again of me saying to you, like, I think your anger is at your mother and your F-slur brother and your family that has not supported you. Why don't you do something about it?
You've told me
Why
to
don't you
something.
do something about it?
You've suggested I do something a lot,
And you just won't do it.
and I just don't want to do it. And I just, if I don't want to do something, I'm not gonna do it.
Okay,
Which
well,
is
maybe you need
to fuck her mom over, right? That's what he's trying to get her to do. To like go to the FPI about courting you or whatever.
to get to a place where you can understand that it would be fun to do it.
Is there a
think it's
specific
also-
clip you want to find?
I don't know. I just have it like written down of like
Uh-huh.
something that was said. I'm not sure where it is anymore.
Okay,
but
no worries.
it says it's something that Ben said where he said we should act like boyfriend and girlfriend. It would drive Courtney crazy. So I can touch you in front of the camera, but you don't want to do that. You say, I don't know how because I'm ashamed about it. Why are you ashamed of me? He asks. And she just says like there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
He said you do care about what other people say when they say, well, my dad would never do that. And then he says something like that's why they should kill themselves.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So yeah, and I think somebody did mention like at the very end, he says something like, because you're not giving me the girlfriend experience, now I'm gonna be mean to you. I'm not gonna be
Right.
nice to you because of that.
Right.
So that's somewhere in here.
Mm-hmm.
But those I think were just like the last
Right.
two
Let me see.
weird
So he
things.
wants to.
Things.
Laugh me out of that office. I have
Not
no
true.
evidence that mom
That's
has
not
been
true.
involved with any of this stuff.
That's not true.
What evidence do I have? I have no Discord DMs. I have no screenshots. I have no text from her. Nothing.
Do you know that she had a meetup?
Yes.
Okay, that's
She didn't-
evidence.
Okay, so because I met with Courtney, or we met with Courtney, that nothing. I always say this to Ben. I don't know if you guys have been in VCs. You guys know what's going on, most of you. Like Courtney and some people went and like had food and like did karaoke. We didn't talk about Ben. No one said a word really about Ben at all, or Grace.
No.
It was just about like meeting up and like hanging out. That was it.
meet up with anybody who cyber stalked us.
No one cybers. I never called the cops on Ben and Grace. Like that, all that shit's crazy. They could go find out who called the cops on them.
Do you think that she talks with Gorka?
Do I think that? Yes. Do
Gorka! 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 Gorka's one of the cyber terrorists
Shout out.
that I, yeah.
I have any evidence of that? No.
Well, investigations could be made into that.
Yeah, I've been in an FBI cyber terrorist interrogation cell.
I told you that.
So
Okay.
you have evidence. You know she's talked to him.
Obviously.
You know
yes.
he said that he talks to her all the time. You know there's a secret Discord. You know they met up.
Yeah.
You know that guy personally took responsibility, and there are now emails. What do you mean there's no evidence?
I think sometimes Grace might also be DM'd by all kinds of trolls who tell her all kinds of disinformation, or that's my guess. I have no fucking clue about any of this shit. But Ben is ridiculous to think a bunch of random people DMing Grace are telling the truth.
Why do you think evidence means like absolute proof? You don't think you can launch an investigation based on some evidence and have them do the rest? What the fuck are they doing then? We don't have the ability to investigate like they do.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
yes. The FBI also, it's like I've said this in a VC, Ben, even though I haven't called the cops on you for breaking the NCOs when there was one, the FBI likes it when citizens call the cops on people who break the law, Ben. That's just the truth. When Ben was filmed breaking the NCO twice, whoever did call the police was doing their duty as a citizen.
Due diligence, yeah.
Yeah, they
for
were
sure.
doing their duty as a citizen. The FBI is not against that behavior.
True.
Even in the
not swatting.
divorce, there's such a thing as discovery, where you ask questions that the other person.
So Ben goes on,
And
on
her
about
mother
Courtney.
told her brother, "Don't let Grace up here to say hello to her siblings."
Do you
She
want
was
her?
too much of a coward. She was too much of a coward to even text her that.
Do you want
She
her
had
to
to
talk
have
to you?
her brother say that.
Do you want her to talk to you, Grace?
Do I want my mother to talk to me?
Yeah, and be friends with you and have a relationship, or okay.
No.
You want her to apologize. Yes, you do.
I don't want to be her friend. I don't want us to be
Well,
friends.
you want her to apologize for the behavior, the outrageous, psychotic behavior that she's displayed towards you. Obviously, you do.
Yes, I would like her to apologize for that. I do not think she ever
You're
will.
angry about that. You know that she's capable of saying, "I'm sorry. I really fucked that up." You're not going to be able to like mental illness your way into something else. She has done wrong, and she knows she has.
I mean, this is all stuff we've heard before, but
Mhm.
ultimately, I think we're kind of at the end. But as the stream went on, Ruby came on. We're not going to necessarily watch any of that, but Ruby came on. They went and talked. You know, people tried to talk to her. I think even I was like saying, like, did you know Ben did this or did that about the beer bottle stuff, or about getting Grace to take her clothes off on FaceTime or whatever it was after the Jeremy stuff happened in Seattle.
What was
But
her response?
This is too much stuff. But most of it was just like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Like, it's confusing. Like, she's basically just said, like, I'm not going to judge Ben. He's been nice to me.
Mhm.
And that we're all, and basically Ruby has said, you're a social justice warrior if you disagree with her hanging out with Ben Thorpe. And I think that's pretty fucking silly, So anyway, and then one of the people that was giving Grace money, this woman named Dagny apparently was going to pay for Grace to go to college. Let's be honest, that was never going to happen. That was some troll. That was some manipulation. Whatever it was, I don't think that was ever going to happen. Did you, Amelia?
No, not for
Yeah.
like 1 second. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Grace freaked out and cried.
It was a crazy end of this
to the whole stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess like this is kind of it. I would say like the thing that makes everything seem like so sad is just watching the stream that was based on here. We'll just go back to this because I think it's like the most important part. Is Grace saying, Ben's like, will you do this girlfriend boyfriend experience, right?
Yeah.
Do I feel like it's okay? I have to do it either way.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, honey. You sweetheart. Do you feel like it's okay to do the GF experience for me?
Do I feel like it's okay? I have to do it either way.
I think that's it. Grace has to go along with whatever insane thing Ben has asked her to do. Who knows the amount of insane things? Whether it's the beer bottle thing or the BFGF experience. Ben and Grace, Ben specifically can say all of this was a bit. It was all role playing for whatever crazy reason.
I would like to end with like discussing that. Like I think so this is a good point. Is that I think it's Ben's manipulation and how he believes, how he wants to interpret for the audience that Grace is acting embarrassed or acting like a victim when she's really not, because she's manipulating everybody to think that she's a victim when she's really the perpetrator of all of this stuff. She's the abuser. But we're like here to say that in reality, Grace is actually embarrassed, and she has to hide her own embarrassment to please Ben and act like she's not embarrassed or ashamed, or feels it to be like a shameful thing. So Ben trying to manipulate the audience, she tries to frame it like, well, Grace is just perfectly conducting herself to play this victim role. And I think like our point is that like this is a absolute falsity, so Grace has every reason to be embarrassed, and like I said, the dysfunction is never going to be acceptable. So nobody's gonna like everybody's just gonna keep saying like this is like fucked up and gross, and Ben's always gonna be trying to figure out how to condition her to go against those natural feelings, I think,
Yes. And he has to take her and has to go back and forth and manipulate her, and it's a joke and it's a troll and it's not. So she never really can feel the feelings that she has. She always has to guess what Ben wants from her. That's why she like goes in the fetal position while he's trying to touch her, because she knows in a second he could be screaming at her.
Yeah, totally. For sure.
Definitely. And then finally, so this is another thing that somebody said about the overstimulated line. I'm about a half hour behind, but overstimulated is reference to the ancient, now debunked pseudoscientific diagnosis of hysteria in women way back in the day. Interesting. I could see that for sure. Well, thank you guys for watching. Who knows when we'll be back? Who knows if I'll be back in an FBI cyber terrorist interrogation cell with Gorka? I don't know. But thanks everyone for sticking around. We had like 60 something in the chat the whole time. I think that's cool for people that never stream, and but it's always interesting to have everybody kind of discuss this stuff. And I hope someday Grace can leave Ben I think she deserves it. So
Yes.
Thanks for watching All for Nothing Analysis. Have a good night.
Shout out
Thanks,
to
Shamu.
Gorka.
Shout out to everyone for sticking around. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.
Bye.